Hey guys, just doing the part 2 of my Xbox story with my son and this stalker pretending to be a kid on the Xbox. So, I kind of talked about him being on the mic and him not saying anything when I would come around the console, kind of curiosity about this sniper kid, right? But after my son and I realized that this guy was behind the accounts, we talked about everything, and the more we talked, the more we realized that this guy was behind these accounts. And before I even shut down my accounts, I remember going to one of his fake accounts and messaging and saying, I know you're on the Xbox. I know that's you behind that account. And, like I mentioned, how many times I got mad about these two fighting? Like, I get really mad, and I would demand my son not to play with this sniper kid. Well, he would always make an account, sneak behind my back, message my son, and they would continue playing again, right? Well, this is my confirmation knowing that this guy was behind these accounts. Is after I sent that message revealing that I knew very well what was going on, he sent one last mean message to my kid, and he never ever made a new account or anything like that, because after we found out, I think it was right after school, I made my son block him. And then I think it was a couple hours later, he got a really nasty message from the account. So then that's when I went online, went to the, one of his stupid accounts he has, messaged, outed him, let him know I know what's going on, sorry. And he never ever messaged my son again, never even tried. And if he just thought a little harder and just made a new account and added my son, I probably would have never thought anything. But here's the thing, is that I knew there was a voice changer and a voice manipulator. He wouldn't have been able to fool me with that, especially, if they became friends again and then he went onto the mic. I would have been there all ears listening. I wouldn't have let it go. So him not messaging my son ever again, never reaching out, and it's been well over a year, that's all that I needed to know that that was him. And also the thing about this too is, like, he wasn't only just keeping the connection close by playing games with my son, he was getting double confirmation on everything that we were doing. If I was out of the house running errands, or if we were out of town, or if we were on holidays, or if we were doing this or that, whatever event, he was always getting double confirmation because, one, he was talking to me from fake accounts, and then he was talking to my son on the Xbox and asking him the same questions, which I don't know why he needs double confirmation, but he was. And, I'm kind of thinking the double confirmation part, like when he pretended to be a friend and almost came to my house, he wanted to make sure of, like, the daily routine. He wanted to make sure that, when I said I was doing something, I was doing it right. That's the only thing that I'm guessing. Make it easier for him to zero in on me. I really don't know, but that's what I think. And it really isn't just the information that he was fishing for that he already most likely knew. It was the fact that he knew the route that my son was walking to and from school. He knew what school he went to. He knew when he was home alone. Just stuff that he doesn't need to know. And, the more I talk to people on this app and I tell them about, what's going on, and he's a stalker and all that, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as they hear about the Xbox part, they're just, it's on a whole different level at this point. And, that happened last year. I looked at him as a stalker for the longest time. And after finding out about the Xbox, it's so much worse. I knew he messed with adults and women, but I didn't think he would go and mess with kids. But that being said, my son did learn a big lesson. He's learned a lot as well as I have throughout the last year, like just educating myself on cybersecurity and, just what we went through and how to prevent going through it again. He's actually, right on the ball too. Him and his friends notice fake accounts way before I do. And, it's even his acquaintances. So, like, he's also educating the people around him, about it as well. this situation alone makes him move a hell of a lot differently on the internet, that's for sure. And I know that if he didn't go through with all this, he wouldn't be as cautious as he is. So I wanted to share this story so people understand, a lot of the details of what this guy did, but also just to educate parents out there on what these types of people can do beyond just messaging your kids. And like I've mentioned many times, AI is evolving, scammers are evolving, catfishers are evolving. All these people are upping their game. And what we usually know of what these people do, they're ditching it and they're onto new things because regular people aren't falling for what they used to pull. And that's why they've moved up to voice cloning and voice manipulation, and we have to be aware of it. We have to educate ourselves on it. Which the voice cloning one I'm still gonna do. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do it. I thought I could just take a YouTube video, but apparently you can't do that, so I gotta kind of brainstorm about it. I do want to try it myself, but sounds a little difficult, so yeah. Anyways, have a good one, guys.